I'm going to take you a history subject. Today, we'll continue with our same lesson, that is historiography in Indian tradition. Today, we'll be dealing with the last part of your chapter, that is various ideological school. In that, two subparts were remaining. Okay, so before starting, I'm going to give revision in just 5 minutes that what we have studied in this particular chapter. To begin with, we have studied with the historiography. Historiography is nothing but writing of critical historical narrative, is known as historiography. Scholars who write such narrative are known as historians. That means by writing or by recording something, when we are writing the events of the past, that is called as history, and whoever person is writing, that person is called as historian. Moving further, we have studied about the three important types of history. In that, we have studied about ancient, medieval, and modern. Then dealing with that, we have studied that how the ancient, medieval, and modern history has put great impact on our historiography. That means what comes under the ancient history, similarly what comes under the medieval history, and what comes under the modern historiography. In that, we have studied about that mainly medieval ancient history dealing with mythological laws, oral recitals, excavational sites, archaeological excavations, copper plates, stupas of Sachi. Similarly, Harappa and Mohenjo-daro civilization, we have already studied about these things. Similarly, oral recitals, once Guru is passing his education to another by oral recitals, by bhajans, by kirtan, all these will come under the ancient historiography. And these are the great source of building ancient historiography. In that, we have studied about the different kinds of books, that is Rig Veda. Then we have studied about the different Vedic literature, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Harsha Charitra, Meghdut, by Vishakadatti. All these we have studied. Then moving towards medieval period, we have studied in that various books were there, where various biographies and autobiographies has greatly contributed for the construction of the medieval history. In that, we have studied Duduke Firoz Shahi, then Kalhana's Raja Tarangini. Similarly, we studied about Tuzuke Babri, Akbarnama. Then in Maratha history, we have studied about the that Bakar literature plays an important role in giving information about the social, cultural, economic, and political relation of the Marathas in the Maratha period of Shivaji, of great Shivaji Maharaj. In that, we have studied that how this Bakar literature shows great information about the Marathas. In that, we have studied about the Kaifiyat, Bau Sahibchi Bakar. Then we have studied about Holkaransi Kaifiyat. We have studied all these. Then moving further, in the modern period, we have studied that how the colonial or the foreigner has played a great important role in constructing the modern historiography. We have studied that sorry, James Max Muller plays an important role. He has translated many books. He has translated Hitopadesh. Then similarly, he was great. He was very inspired by the Indian tradition and culture. Similarly, we have studied about the colonialism. Colonialism is nothing but the extreme domination of one country on one territory by the foreign rule, that is called as colonialism. So India used to be the colony of the Britishers. In that, we have studied that how the Britishers try to exploit the Indian culture and tradition by their writings. They have put great remarks that Indian culture is nothing but a fun, and we should, if the Indian wants to change, they should change themselves. And how they can change? The only way to change themselves is to adopt the Western culture. Similarly, moving further, there are the great historians. For example, James Milne was there, Sir John Marshall, Alexander Cunningham. They contributed greatly to the Indian historiography. Moving further, yesterday we have studied about the Orientalists. Orientalists is nothing but who believes that who believes in the pride of the East Asia and those who have written good praiseworthy history about the East Asia. In that, we have studied about how the Jan Max Muller was greatly inspired by Sanskrit language, and he praises Sanskrit as the mother of all the languages. Next, moving further, yesterday we have started with the nationalistic historiography. The person who has the great feeling over one's nation has called nationalist, and the persons those who have contributed greatly in the nationalist historiography, where we have studied about the Swatantra Veer Vinayak Damodar. Then we have studied about the Vishnu Shastri Chiplunkar. We have studied about the V.K. Rajwade. We have studied that how they have started writing about the Indian tradition and culture, and mainly their writings leads to the feeling of pride among the people, and they also used to think that we should fight for our freedom and we should uh, throw the Britishers away from our country. And if we Indians are having the Indian nation, then only Indians can rule this. Nothing, no foreign rulers should be here. Then Justice Govind Mahadev Ranade also plays an important role for the contribution of Maratha history. And he said that not only Maratha history is constructed in one day, but it is constructed in quite preparation, and it takes a time to construct a particular history. Similarly, V.K. Rajwade said that three important factors should be there for construction of history, that is time, space, and personality. And if these three factors were present, then only the particular history can be can be think about can be eligible for the writing. Then moving further, Marxist historiography. Marxist historiography believes in the production, means of productions, and the laborers. Similarly, Marxist historiography believes that they should play an important role in for the cause of the labor class, and they should fight for the laboring class, because they are the class which are working for the nation, and they should play an important role in government making and all the representation of the government. So these were the revision of the previous lectures. Now moving further, today I'm starting with subaltern historiography or subaltern history. Children, subaltern history, as you can see on the screen, the subaltern history are found in the Marxist historiography. Now see, as I have told you that subaltern history has come out of from the Marxist historiography, and subalterns actually meaning is bottom most rank. That means सबसे नीचे का जो क्लास होता है उसके बारे में. Folklore has been considered as very important source of writing subaltern histories. Subaltern means the bottom most rank. Similarly, subaltern historians also believes that they believe in the caste. They believe that about the caste system. For example, in India we used to have the four caste. We have the caste system. इंडिया में कास्ट सिस्टम को बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंस दी जाती थी. For example, we used to have the four caste: Brahmin, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. So here, subaltern history, if we'll connect these four castes to the subaltern history, it means that they believe that we should write about the Shudras. We should write about the bottom most caste of the society. हमको समाज की सबसे जो निचली, जो सबसे छोटी, जो सबसे नीचे वाली हिस्सी कास्ट है, उसके बारे में भी लिखना चाहिए, और उनके बारे में हमको एनलाइटन करना चाहिए लोगों को. Now see children, these whatever I am teaching to you, this is about the years back, but today in India we don't have such any caste system. Here after the enactment of constitution, we have the equal rights before the law. All the castes are same, all the caste, creed, all the gender are same before the law. Now we don't follow any caste system. So subaltern means writing of the about the bottom most rank. And before one of the important Italian, one of the important foreigner named Antonio Gramsci plays an important role in developing ideas that history should be written starting from the bottommost rank of the people in the society. He believes that we should write history from the bottommost rank of the society. Okay, now and subaltern actually means the bottommost rank. Now before Antonio Gramsci, from the India also there are some historians, those who believe in the same subaltern historiography, and they have unfolded the history of the about the subaltern history or the bottommost rank of the society. Now in that we'll first have the Mahatma Jyotiba Phule. He was a renowned reformist children, as you all know. He was a renowned reformist. He believed in the education. If you have studied Renaissance period in 6th standard or 7th standard, I think you might studied about these reformers, that they are the great reformers who changed the Indian society, those who had tried to change Indian society. That means Mahatma Jyotiba Phule fought for the girls' education. They believe that girls should also get the education, and similarly they fought for the caste system also. So in a battle to caste system, they have believed that they have written two books, important two books, that is Gulamgiri or Shudrati Shudra communities. In his book Gulamgiri, he drew attention to the exploitation of women, Shudras and Ati Shudras done under the name of religion. The term Shudra and Ati Shudra indicates the bottom and most rank in the caste system. As I have told you that subaltern history related with nothing but the bottom most rank of the society, children. So here how you can connect this, that in the caste we have the four ranks, and whoever has written about the caste or Shudras or Ati Shudras, children, those all will come under the subaltern history. Okay, so this how you can connect with the subaltern history and the caste system. So Mahatma Jyotiba Phule has written about the Shudras, Ati Shudras, women, even the woman. Why the woman is included in the Shudra, in the lowest rank of the society? Because at that time, women and the Shudras and the Ati Shudras has the same condition. For example, if the woman has also on the woman, there are many restrictions. You might also know that women used to uh, the sati system was there. That means women used to buried with their husband dead bodies. This was there. Then there was no right to remarry. For example, there was no right, if a particular woman's husband died, he has to live in a widow life, and that widow life is also very miserable. They used to cut off their hairs. They used to wear white saris. They used to walk barefoot. Similarly, they were not allowed to enter temples. They were used to eat very simple food, even the food at one time. So all these restrictions were put on the women, and that's why women was also used to like the Shudras and Ati Shudras also. That's why Mahatma Jyotiba Phule plays very important role in bringing reforms in these castes. That means women's, Ati Shudras and Shudras. Another reformist, or we can say another historian who plays an important role in, or who plays contribution in writing subaltern history, that is Dr. Ambedkar. Only 2 days back we have the Chanititi of Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. The role of people belonging to Dalit caste is very significant in shaping of various cultures and political aspects of India. However, this role was not only due to acknowledge in the colonial and nationalistic story. Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, focusing on this fact, consistently wrote about it. Two of his books, Who Were the Shudras and The Untouchables, may be cited the examples of history of subaltern types. Now, if you might have studied, or if you will study these two books, Who Were the Shudras and The Untouchables, as the name itself suggests, that means the untouchables, that means they were Brahmins not used to touch Shudras or the last caste of the society. Even they were not allowed to have the same well. That means the Shudras well it was different, and the Brahmins used to fetch water from the different well. So there are huge difference in the society, and that's why Baba Sahib Ambedkar plays an important role in bringing the life of the Shudras and how they are living in the society. They are living very miserable life. For example, if you are born in a Shudra family, you have to follow the tradition of your family. if you had intelligence in you, though you have capabilities, you have quality, you have brain, but still you have to follow the manual work, you have to do slave work only, you have to follow all the rules and regulation which was put forward by the Brahmins in that particular period. आपके पास अगर इंटेलिजेंस है, जहानत है, कुछ भी है, आप बहुत अच्छा आपको पढ़ाई लिखाई भी आती है, लेकिन आपको अगर आपके पापा अगर आप शूद्रा फैमिली में होते थे तो उनको भी वही चीज फॉलो करनी थी। इंसान का जो कास्ट था उसके चाइल्ड की बर्थ पे जो है क्या होता था, डिसाइड होता था। एंड दैट्स व्हाई बाबा साहब अम्बेडकर हैज प्लेड अ ग्रेट इंपॉर्टेंट रोल in putting the light on all these factors, that how the shudras are living in the society and in how much that is right. Now the Untouchable is a book, you can see in the picture also, children, that the Abjan were Aborigines, they were also called as Aborigines. And if you might have seen in the book called Untouchables, I have seen the book Untouchables, and in that I have seen that there are the topics which can truly give a goosebump to the person, that how they were used to live in the society. They were used to live in very miserable condition. They were not allowed to even wear two clothes. They have to wear only one clothes. They were not allowed to enter temples. They were not allowed to roam in the society freely. There is different way or a different street to for the Brahmins. There is different way, street to the Shudras. So there are different kinds of restrictions on them, and all those restrictions were written in these books, Untouchables and the Shudras and Ati Shudras. Similarly, children, these reformers, those who were uh, has an impact on these people. These what is the main reason for this, that they should also come under the forefront, or unko bhi, they should, even the Shudras and the Ati Shudras or the women also have the right to come, or to follow the particular norms of the society, and they should live in a happy condition, and they should have the capability, they should have the capability to learn all these things, और उनको भी जिंदगी जीने का उतना ही हक है जितना के ब्राह्मण्स को है. So these were the some important information which I have given you. Now further information, we'll watch this video and we'll move further.
Unfolded the history of the Shudrati Shudra, terms indicating the bottommost ranks in the caste system, communities in his book Gulamgiri, 1873. In this book, he drew attention to the exploitation of women, Shudras and Ati Shudras, done in the name of religion. The role which people belonging from Dalit, untouchable castes played in the shaping of various cultural and political aspects of India was very significant. However, this was not duly acknowledged in colonial and nationalist historiography. Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, the architect of the Constitution of India and champion of the Dalits, would consistently highlight this glaring oversight in his writings. Two of his books, Who Were the Shudras and The Untouchables, Who Were They and Why They Became Untouchables, may be cited as examples of subaltern historiography, feminist history. Over a significant period of time, many Indian scholars and historians, chiefly male, were involved in the rewriting of Indian history. As a result, the role and achievements of women throughout history remained neglected. This Herculean task of highlighting achievements of women throughout the pages of male-centric history was undertaken by the feminist historians. The chief objective of the feminist school of historiography was to study and compile the historical writings from women's point of view. Furthermore, it aimed to rethink women's position in history. The foremost feminist author of the 19th century CE was Tarabai Shinde. In her writings, she attacked the chauvinistic male mentality, the male-dominated social system, and the prevailing caste system. Her book, Stri Purush Tulana, A Comparison Between Women and Men, published in 1882 CE, is acknowledged as the first modern feminist book in India. In 1888 CE, another book written by Pandita Ramabai entitled The High Caste Hindu Woman was published. The feminist literature of the post-independence era focused on issues such as employment of women, treatment meted out to them at their workplace, their right to political equality, etc. Among the recently published feminist literature, Meera Kosambi's book, Crossing Thresholds, Feminist Essays in Social History, 2007, is of great importance. It contained essays on the life stories of women like Pandita Ramabai, one of the first feminist activists in 19th century India, and Rukhamabai, the first practicing lady doctor in British India. Though countless literature is available which unfolded the viewpoint of Dalit women in Maharashtra, a special mention is to be made of Dr. Sharmila Rege's work, which was noteworthy in this context. Her book, Writing Caste, Writing Gender, Narrating Dalit Women's Testimonies, 2006, includes essays on the autobiographies of Dalit women.
Now moving further, you might have seen in the video also the next topic, the last ideological school is feminist history. Now first one is Marxist. First ideological school, as we have seen here also. See children in this slide. See here, first ideological school was Marxist history, second was subaltern history, and third we are dealing with the third and last part, that is feminist history. Marxist is nothing but related with production, subaltern is nothing but relating with the bottommost rank of the society, and feminist history, that means we are here dealing with the contribution of women in the history. Okay, or not only the writing or the as a historian, but also the problems related with the women. Now here, if you might have seen in the chapter, we have studied about the Marxism, Marxist history, we have studied about the nationalist history, we have studied about the colonialist history, but there is not but there are not enough book which shows the condition of women in that particular period. So there are the different women who come out and has written a great work or the great information about the condition of women at that time. The first among them was Tarabai Shinde. He has written book called, her book was Stri Purush Tulna. As the name itself says, Stri, woman, Purush means man, तुलना मतलब कि उनका जो आपस में क्या जो ये एक उसने कंपैरिजन किया है in the year 1882 as Nokla is the first feminist book in India. You have to remember this particular book, Stri Purush Tulna, is written by Tarabai Shinde, and this particular book is called as first feminist book, which is written about the woman, जो औरतों के बारे में completely क्या थी लिखी गई थी. Then another famous historian of that time is Pandita Ramabai. The feminist literature of the post-independent era concentrated on the issues like the employment of women. Now, see children, at that time the women were not allowed to even educate themselves. So forget about the employment, but there are some women who used to be employed in different occupations. But there's some literature or the books which uh, concentrated that how these women are facing different problems on their employment places, that how they are treated out to them their workplace, and that original political or equality. Now there are different issues we today also faces, that there are different conditions. In this we are saying that women should not do this, women should not do that. For example, if the domestic violence is increasing, we said that women are going out of their limits, and that's why they are facing these kinds of problems. Similarly, on the work front, they are facing different kinds of harassments. So these are the issues which were put forth by these women, and they said that women also get political equality or the equality in the society on all the segments of the society. Similarly, Ramabai Shinde, Ramabai Shinde has written the famous book called High Caste Hindu Woman. And what he said that he was a pioneer in the education and emancipation of women in India. Ramabai Shinde plays an important role in bringing in acknowledging the people that women should also get an education, and she was the first woman to be awarded the titles of Pandita as Sanskrit scholar and Saraswati after being examined by the faculty of the University of Calcutta. Pandita Ramabai. His name was Ramabai, but he was awarded this title called Pandita, and he was, she was the first woman who got this title by the University of Calcutta because of his educational intelligence. Because his Sanskrit, it's called, different Sanskrit scholars has awarded this title to Pandita Ramabai. What is the title? Pandita. She was the one of the 10 women delegate of the Congress session of 1889. And the Congress session, for example, Congress was founded in the year 1888. So, so in the 1889, when the first session of the Congress was there, she was the first woman among the 10 women who participate in that particular session. In the late 1890s, she founded Mukti Mission at Ketgaon village, 40 miles east of the city of the Pune. The mission was later named Pandita Ramabai Mukti Mission. Now, organization is formed for the upliftment of the woman, and so that the woman can also uh, uh, uplift themselves, or these kinds of. Now today we have different organization, different sansthas are there who plays, who help the movement in all the aspect, whether it is domestic violence, whether it is some political issues, whether it's some criminal issues. But at that time, these were the first few steps which were taken by these women to uplift the condition of the women and children. At that time, when there was male dominant society, the people were used to think very traditionally, and at that time doing all this thing is quite hard task. So we should acknowledge all these women's work. Next comes the recently published feminist literature is in the year 2007. There is a historian called feminist historian called Meera Kosambi. He has written Crossing Thresholds. Feminist essay in social history is of importance. It contains essay on the life story of women like Pandita Ramabai and Rukhambai, the first practicing lady doctor of India. Similarly, Pandita Ramabai and Rukhambai was the first practicing doctor uh, of India at that time. And there are historians, those who were now acknowledging the work of these women, those who were come forward at that time in the 18th century or in the late 18th century. We are talking about period near almost 100 and 200 years back. At that time, when all there was male dominant society, and there is not allowed to education also for the women, and at that time these women come forward, played an important role. There are different women. There are not only Pandita Ramabai or Tarabai Shinde. There are women like Savitri Bai Phule. She also plays an important role for the education of women. So, of course, she was not an historian, but she also plays great role in the girls' education. In Maharashtra, Dr. Sharmila Rege work is noteworthy in the context her book Writing Caste, Writing Gender. Reading Dalit women's testimonies includes her essay on the autobiographies of Dalit women. That means how they are Dalit. She has taken an interview from the Dalit women and how these Dalit women are treated in the society. There are many incidents where the Dalit women are treated very badly in the society today itself. In 2020 also, we have listened many times in the news that how these Dalit women were treated badly in the society by the upper caste people. And this is not no, this is very cunning truth that today also Dalit women are facing lots of miseries in the in today's world also, in the 2020 century also. But still, at that time, Dalit woman's condition was very deteriorating in the society, very miserable, and she plays an important role in upbringing all those problems. And she has written the book called Writing Caste and Writing Gender. Now, with this, we are coming to the last part of our lesson, that is conclusion. So we can easily conclude in this particular chapter that with related to Indian tradition, and historiography, we can say that Indian traditional historiography is very in depth, and there are many historians, feminist historians. There are many historians, not only Indian historians but foreign historian also, which has constructed very deep and very we can say very centuries history with related to Indian tradition. No doubt, Indian culture is great, and in depth it is a very rich culture we have. So very variety, very we have very rich and rich heritage also, and that's why there's lot of topics to write for the Indian history. And it is evident that the Indian history has been influenced greatly by the social and political movements. And at that time, whenever we are talking about all this, that there are some social movements. For example, there is uh, uh, abolition of sati was there. So these are the topics. For example, widow remarriage was there. Then caste system was there. Then there are different small wrong practices was also there. There are some right practices also there. Used to Indians in cultural and religious values are very rich. So these are the important topics which the historian used to take. Similarly, political also, we have the in the politics also we have the great Mughals, then we have the British system, then the great Shivaji Maharaj was there. So all these are the important topics which the historian used to cover, and that's why uh, was also developed outside the influence of these movements. And there are some economic topics, or there are some cultural topics which are not only related with social and political but also the cultural and economics. Now, evaluation, children. Famous work of Pandita Ramabai. Madam, kindly unmute the mic of the students, please.
Hmm. Okay. Give the answer, student. Please raise your hand.
Yes, children. Famous work of Pandita Ramabai. You have to tell the name of the book which she has written. No
Sri
one?
Purustullah.
Yes. Here I'm
Sri.
asking about the famous work. That means I'm asking about the uh, her contribution in the with related to books. Yes, anyone?
Teacher, the high caste Hindu woman.
Very nice. Thank you. Pandita Ramabai has written. She was a woman from the Brahmin family itself, but she has written the book called The High Caste Hindu Woman. And let me tell you that in that book, Not only she has written about the condition of women with related to untouchables and Dalit, but she has also written that how in the high caste also the women are suffering. That's why that book got very famous. Okay. Now my another next question is first practicing doctor of India
Ma'am, can I
with
give answer?
related to women. I'm telling.
Ma'am,
Yes.
can I give answer? Dr. Rukma Bhai.
Very nice. Very good. Thank you. That is Dr. Rukma Bai. Then write short notes on. Now this is children. This is your homework. You can write in your notebooks also. Write it now itself. आप अपनी notebook में ये दो questions लिख लीजिए. You have to write these answers in at least in 4 points.
Teacher,
Yes.
can you tell me the meaning of compiled and acknowledgement?
Meaning of compiled means something which we can compile. मतलब के for example a book is compiled. That means there are 2 to 3 important topics and we are taking all those from all those from all those books. We are taking some important points and we are compiling it in one notes or in one book. That is called compiling. That means to take the important notes and make it one. 3-4 अलग-अलग चीजें हैं and we are taking it in a one form or in a one condition, that is called compiling. And what is the another word, children? आपने दूसरा word acknowledgement. That means we for example, see, I have just used this word that Tarabai Shinde and Pandita Ramabai have played great important role in the contribution in for contribution in writing woman history, right? And now this woman called, let me Dr. Sharmila in 2007 she has written one book called Writing History, Writing Gender, and in that book she has acknowledged the work of Pandita Ramabai and Tarabai Shinde. That means actually she is admiring their work, acknowledge कर रही है वो कि हाँ उन्होंने इतना अच्छा काम किया था. That is called acknowledgement. मतलब एक तरह से thanks बोलना या एक तरह से उनको thanks giving moment जिसको हम बोलते हैं, that is called as acknowledgement.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Any other, yes children, any other question regarding this particular lesson? With this we have come to an end of this lesson, that is Indian historiography with relation to Indian tradition. Any doubt about this particular lesson you can ask me.
आचल विश्वकर्मा रुचिका
Ma'am,